and
Okay,
also
I want to
harsh
slide this
gods. I'm
over a
looking
little
at it
bit.
right now, and
Bringing up the
apparently you have a
Dictionary of
contest
Demons.
going on. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about the contest?
Seems a bit convoluted as we've been talking about
Actually, there's several contests going on.
in the thesis
all
here,
of
but
which
I gotta
are
play
just
Sarge Mage to you
get a
at
free
least. When I
copy of
mean
the book.
Sarge Mage for the
Goodreads has a
Army, they
contest
set
going on.
up
I think
with
Dread
a
Central no
presentation
longer does.
board, and I would like to make
The
a
contest on
reciprocal
my
move.
website,
I mean, you were out for a couple
we've
days,
already
right?
picked the
That's a
two
couple
winners for
sick
that.
days.
It was
Fire, I'm
just
back
having
in the
people let me
seat.
know,
I'm
like,
happy with it.
what made
Because
them
I'll
wanna,
give the
you know,
brief from
your-
the Army
why would they
standpoint of
want
what
to read
that
the
note
book?
was supposed to
And,
represent
we pretty much
in
people's
determination
names
of
and hats for
gravity
that.
under
But I know
paper
the
beep
contest
beep.
on Goodreads is still going on, and
You know,
pretty much
so
upload
that
to
was
Goodreads,
the
you can
in
put your name
on
in
it
the
to
queue,
talk to
and I think
those
they've got
versions of
15 copies to
counseling
give away.
and how
I
that
just
does.
got done
Believe me,
with
I've been through
with a
mental
signing
health and
here
drug
in
and alcohol.
Cleveland,
And I'll
then
tell
the
you,
book
it's
launch
about
in
fucking
Atlanta
worthless to
this
get
past
talk to
weekend.
the boss, right?
Like
I mean,
last
it's like it's not
We
going
have
to
a
change my
question
pay. It's not
from
going
one
to
of the
change my
listeners,
differential.
and,
Now,
yeah.
with that being said, this
Growing
is an
up in a
active
Jesuit
soldier,
school, or attending a Jesuit school,
lieutenant
can you
commander,
comment at
commanding
all on
lieutenant.
the Black
Inside
Pope?
here, before I wanted to talk about some of the religious studies you could go through.
No,
on
because the Jesuits don't talk about
Now,
the pattern, the
studying
daisy
religious
pattern
studies,
that
going
this
on
thing
with
got to
the
go
Jesuit
through
order
on a
pathway.
field.
career options are available
Try
for
this
students
not a
religious
topic that
study
they're
major
very
inside
talk
here
about.
being
I've
majors
Many
and
people who have
heard
studied
some
religious studies
fun
will go
stories
on
about
to
what may
other
or may
fields
not be in the
now,
National
when I looked
Library,
at this,
that
I've been
would
talking
try
about a
to
couple of
other
times.
areas
This
that they would
specific
get
case,
Like
Nikki's brought it up a couple of times. On the military consulate across the board, Navy, Army, standard cross assist, Shark Attack change things. Generals turn around and change uniforms every other damn day. The thing is supposed to limit, have a tent and sticks and make it a boot camp by calculus.
So this can involve being a pastor or
Right. What happens between the pipes here, A and B, when you lay out this end of the barrel and this end of the barrel, between calibers and
pastor in a lot of have specialized study, whether it's through the
this happens. This would have been one of the variables they were most prepared with under it because it was specified inside the state. For the case, the sharks under the chaplain given AR-15 or any other variable.
Other areas, like being a coordinator.
I feel like I have a lot to lose. If you play chess,
He's
you can only
talking
see
about
2 to
put
3
down your
moves out
coin.
because there's too many
You know,
variables.
on this one,
Thought through
you know,
if
you
I
don't get no more
post this
rookies at
video,
least when
what
I
might
go
happen
hand
to
over
me,
my,
especially
you know,
if
the
the
one my
video
brother
gets
gave
some
me, the
traction,
Norfolk
if I have the courage to post it.
chip there. You
But I
know,
think
5-year master
What you
mason.
believing can only be defined by
lieutenant
what you're willing
commander,
to risk. So if I'm willing to
or
risk
anything up
my
on that, that would be
current
this. He can't
battalion
understand. He
commander
does
seat,
not
my
have
retirement,
does
my
not have an
family's
answer in the stone
stability
mill.
to say some of the things that I
Private
wanna
or
say.
boss, when a private asks this guy
It gives
what
me
the question
some
is, they got to
moral
have
high
the
ground to demand
missionary
the same honest
position
integrity and
on that
accountability
standard,
from
and
my
it still
senior
hasn't
leaders.
came under
So
the
I wanna
index
start
of
with-
going to his private counsel
We'll
under
just use the
mental
Marine
health
Corps.
being one of the
We'll just
voltage
stick with the
current
Marine Corps. So in
failings on the
current fallout
multimeter.
of Afghanistan,
Multimeter.
a lot of Marines were posting on social media in response
AC,
to that.
you
Commandant
know,
published a letter
a lot of that's
to
again
the
because you don't
Surgeon Chief of the
have
Marine
social
Corps.
media tags on what it is, so
And I'll read
therefore
from
the
it. It
basic
was
law
dated
saves
18
it from
August,
smashing
so
inside
a
the gate of
week
what
ago.
freedom is.
The
I
comments
have
where you wrote,
I have backing on
"Somebody
that.
may
That's
be
a bunch
struggling
of
with this
people
simple
rolling
question, was
in,
it all worth
and
it?
if I'm using them
We
as
want you to
springs,
know that your
every
service
one
is
of
meaningful,
them
powerful,
turns
and
off
important.
when I get
You
talking,
fought
or
for the
turns
Marine
on
to
when
your
I get
left, Marine to
talking.
your right. You never let them
Where
down.
have we seen that
You
before?
go on to say that
in-
if we're struggling, we should seek counseling. Which, I get it. People have killed people.
I have to have that briefing too. You know, I have to be like, this should
I've
come
killed
up
people and I seek
in waves
counseling.
across the pond. Well, how
That's
does
fine. There's
you know,
time
when
and
you think
place
about
for
an
that.
E6 getting
The
away with
reason
it,
people
or
are so
combat
upset on social media
veteran,
right now is
or
not because the
something
Marine
like that,
on the
you would say,
battlefield let someone down. That service member
because
is always
lieutenant
rose to the
commander
occasion,
can't?
done
Well,
extraordinary things.
I see
People
Stoker
are
out there all the
upset because
time.
their senior leaders let them down,
Board
and none of them
on.
are raising their
Yeah, he might
hands
not have touched
and
on that,
accepting
said this
accountability
question,
or
but
saying,
it comes
"We
up
messed
at
this
board
up."
because he's always
If
talking
an
about it
05
in inverse
battalion
square.
commander has, the
When the
simplest
question
black
comes
fire
up
incident
is
EO
like,
complaint,
hey,
boom,
I got a
fire.
problem in the
We
ranks
have
right
a
here. It
Secretary
could have
of
been my
Defense that
privates.
testified in
Got
Congress in May
got
that
my.
Afghan National Security Force could withstand the Taliban advance. We have chairmen of joint
This
chiefs
is on
who
the
come out
news
as a
every
member of
day.
that, who's supposed to
Words
advise
on
military
congruency
policy.
for the
You have
standards
a
of
Marine
what comes up.
combatant commander.
And I'd have to
All
see
of
his
these
command
people are
record.
supposed to advise, and
The
I'm
only
not
reason
saying we've
otherwise
gotta
to
be
get
in
out
the-
there is that something
in
else on the
Afghanistan
table
forever,
beats it.
but
Let's
I am
face it,
saying,
it's a machine out
Did
there.
any of you throw your rank on the table and say, hey, it's a bad idea to evacuate
Well,
Bagram Airfield, the strategic air base, before we
Bad
evacuate
idea
it?
to.
Did anyone do that?
He is right there, though, but he did. And that's what happens.
We completely messed this up.
That's what happens when you challenge it on the system. Now the ranks over there, I got to look at that battalion as a total, as a unit, and there it says, is it enough to? Fox in the Box brought it up. That's usually a spring indicator of it that says that was all kinds of radioactive. Now, if it would have been anything else, there would have been really no reason.
While every link may not be tested, the strength of the chain is only as strong as each link, and you got to be, good links.
As I stated, as soon as that thing comes off, the HUD comes around. So once you have standard models, like you got the tablets out, it's like, so how am I re-engineering and designing this? And I got to have it cut down to that limit, and those limits has to go across the system, and they're down to lieutenant commander here, and the lieutenant commander passes it down, because otherwise you'd be masked out at any given state. So what's in the area, these ones were yours from the head, 4-star general. What's left is 50, really. Anything in 50 states, there's commanders on a base, which is 3 to 5, something like that. How many big bases with a split off on some of the best of it? Because you would have to. I got at least plan 5 to 10 years on those indexes, right? That's why you got your chair as a lieutenant commander, probably worked your way up the ranks on things, but before the raise on the index straight to general, I got to look at that and say, well, what's a general do? He works 8 or 12 hours a day, 16 hours a day across the board at that age, even if there's some gray hair in there. That's what keeps Pensrow tight on mathematics, right? It's still going to be theses out there, figure out the energy waves on that version of the classroom, in lieu of actually having to stand out there and be further ado,
let's get started.
So, there's functions about it. Clock back in tomorrow. This is our response. It's square.
Beginner's yoga.